So this is the other hurdle we're gonna have with this newer cylinder heads, is the bolts on these cylinder heads for the actual 2.8. This bracket fits on. The other one didn't have this bracket. So fingers crossed that the newer heads, I can do something, even if it means drilling new holes. Maybe we can do that. But yeah, let's see what we can do to make this work. Well, we got them off. These are still brand new. They haven't had any engine time. They were just torqued down. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this all back out, vacuum it, wipe down the surfaces, get any loose debris off of it, and then we'll see about putting these new heads on. So before I can just put these heads on, we have to swap some things out, right? So the cam that's in there is pretty aggressive. So I'm gonna have to take the valve springs off of these old cylinder heads. And then also, because I like the 1.6 ratio roller tip rockers, we're gonna take those off. And those are on a custom stud. So we're gonna have to take these studs out as well, and then put in the ARP 10mm to 3/8 studs so we can use those roller tip rockers. So we swapped up the valve springs. We've got it's a spring with a honeycomb in the middle, quite a bit heavier spring. This was the original. There's obviously a single spring, no honeycomb. So these are a heck of a lot stiffer, and hopefully with the other roller rockers we can maximize the camshaft. So we had a slight change of plan. We used the small block Chevy rocker arms, but we're using the studs and the hardware from the stock, because turns out the only difference in this size was the hole. So we just put in this part, the 10 mil that fit, and then the original nuts, and now we have our roller tip rockers and our new springs installed on one cylinder head. Unfortunately, it's getting dark, so guess we're going to continue another day. So while trying to take off the damn rocker arms, it somehow sheared the top of this ARP stud off. And then this one here just spins, but it's also stripped, which is kind of why I'm gonna go to the resort of reusing these studs and just putting these rocker arms on there. Only issue is the resale value on this one now isn't what it was hoping. I was hoping to be able to just swap everything and then have a complete set of cylinder heads for the 2.8 that I could possibly sell on Facebook Marketplace. But now with this happening, I might not be able to do that. But we'll figure that out. But anyway, let's go ahead and maybe mount the cylinder head and go from there. All right, so this cylinder head, we were able to get the rocker arms off, but still, we've got some marring on the threads, so these are gonna be unusable. So that's just something else we get to look into. So this is the reason why we're swapping out, right? So this is a 2.8 liter head, and you see how big these combustion chambers are, because this is for the older style. I think the Gen A before the LA came out, and then this is the newer one. As you can tell, these combustion chambers are a lot smaller, which will compression ratio, which is what I'm after, because with these, the only solution was a heck of amount of boost, which I want to do a turbo, but I only want to do 6 to 7 PSI and see gains. I don't want to have to do 15 to 20 just to make it run right. But yeah, so this is why we're doing it. Combustion chambers. All right, so we have old cylinder or new cylinder head in an old bracket, and looking at it, I got 2 of the 3 holes. That might be what she gets. It'll have to be that way. But yeah, not quite lining up. But I'll take 2 out of 3. I think that'll suffice. We're not pushing, 400 or 500 horsepower. And yeah, so let's go ahead and button this up and see what we got. So, learning experience. We have the upper intake and the cylinder heads attached, but the cylinder head bolts right here, I'm missing one for this guy. So they're obviously not torqued down because I don't have all of them. So luckily I can still access them with the intake on, so that way I can clear out some space in the garage. But big but here, I still have to torque everything down. Unfortunately, my plan was to reuse the new cylinder head bolts for the 2.8, but they were not long enough. So again, it's always a good thing to keep your old parts until the engine's completely assembled. Luckily I had all, but apparently I misplaced one. It's probably in the garage somewhere. But yeah, it's looking good. I'm probably gonna put a see if you can see it here. For this hole, I'm probably gonna use that for my fan switch, which means on this side my MPT plug and put a connector of some kind to allow it to go into the Fiero cooling system, so that way I have a heater core. And yeah, so progress. Update. We found the bolt. So now she has all cylinder head bolts. But it's getting dark and I'm cleaning up, so we'll torque them down later. But yeah, we got it.